What's going on, everyone? It's my back again, and this is your season buy and sell video. So we go through the Everton team, we say who we would sell, and we FIFA-ise it. We talk about players that we would like to come into Everton Football Club. So let's start. Number 1, Jordan Pickford. He stays. He come good at the end of the season. He looked really good. However, I'm just going to throw one quick name in there that I would take very quickly. Donnarumma has confirmed that he is leaving Milan. Carlo Ancelotti knows him, respects him, can get him in. And the kid's still only like 20, 21 years old. Big move, that one. Joao Virginia, I think he's got to stay, and he is your third choice goalkeeper. Robin Olsen, apparently, Roma are cool with him coming back on loan potentially again next season. So it might solve an issue. Just give him that, he's been all right when he's played for Everton, so I'm not necessarily against him staying. So I'm sort of on the fence on Robin Olsen. Mason Holgate, I would sell. Take 10, 15 million for him, get him off the book, get the wages off the book. I could see Mason Holgate being a good defender at someone like Newcastle. Someone like... Do you know who would be good for Mason Holgate? David Moyes. David Moyes would be a good manager for Mason Holgate, because David Moyes, when he had an Everton side, he taught his defenders how to really sit deep and just do the basics well. And apart from a couple of mistakes from Joseph Yobo, you can never really say that David Moyes didn't do a good job with defenders, centre-back specifically. Jagielka and Lescott were fantastic for us. Distan coming did also fantastic. So you can't really say that David Moyes did a bad job. So for me, I think Mason Holgate needs to go 10, 15 million. I take that all day. Michael Keane, he stays just because I don't think we need 2 centre-backs to come in. I think that would destabilise our back four. Michael Keane has not had a good season. Some people are saying that he has. I disagree. In my opinion, he hasn't. He hasn't had a great season. However, I think his stock is slightly higher than Mason Holgate's, and I think Michael Keane has got more qualities to his game, i.e. I think he reads the game better, I think he heads the ball better, I think he's slightly more composed on the ball. So, yeah, for me, he stays, but I really do want to see an improvement for him next season. Luca Dean, I'm not even going to talk about. It's an obvious, he stays at Everton Football Club. Yerry Mina, he also stays. Bar his injuries this season, Yerry Mina has been phenomenal. And he's been the second best defender in our team this season behind Ben Godfrey. He's been fantastic. He's chipped in with a couple of goals as well. He's done really well this season. So for me, he stays. Nils Nkunku, he also stays. In the glimpses we've seen him at left back, he's looked fantastic. He's come on the left wing a few times. He's looked all right. He's still a young lad. He's got loads of time to develop. So he stays, plays in the Carabao Cup games, maybe plays in the early FA Cup games. Gives him an opportunity to have a few games of football. So for me, he stays. Seamus Coleman, he also stays just. And he stays as my second choice right back. He can also play on the right wing. So he stays. I'll give him another season sort of thing. We need to bring in a right back, so we'll mention about that in a moment. Ben Godfrey, again, he stays. You're not getting rid of Ben Godfrey over my dead body. Thierry Small, he goes out on loan. So he's been playing in the under-23 side. He's been fantastic. He's been linked with all sorts of big clubs. This is a player who's got real potential going forward into the future. This is a player Everton don't want to lose. However, does he need exposure to some football? I would say try and get him to a championship club, playing at a decent level. He's that sort of player. He can defend, he can beat people, he's quick. I say get him out on loan to a championship side. Ryan Ashley, Kyle John, Reece Welch. Sorry. Look, if they're in and around the first team, that's great, but I think these younger players either need a loan or to develop and maybe have a few games in pre-season for the first team. For me, I don't necessarily just want them to kicked out. A loan or development, cool, fine with that. We move into midfield now, and we start with Fabian Delph. And I'm telling you now, wherever you want to take him, I'll drive him. Like wherever that offer comes from, I'll get in my car right now. Can't see it. It's outside. I'll get in the car. I'll pick him up from wherever he lives and I'll drive him to wherever he goes. And that means abroad as well. I'll take him down the tunnel. I'll take him over to Ireland if he wanted to go and sign for Sligo Rovers. I don't care. I just don't want him at the football club next season. Gylfi Sigurdsson. This is one of the tough ones because at times this season he's looked good and at other times he's looked so pedestrian that the man looks like he's parked at a red light. Like it's been awful. I'll probably get rid of him. Andre Gomez, he is another one that without sounding horrible, he can go. He's had 6 good months in 2.5 years, I think, at Everton Football Club, in my opinion. Yes, I know he's had a 6-month injury or 7-month injury or 8-month injury in that time. But to be honest, he was rubbish before that as well. You know, his loan period with us, he was fantastic. Apart from that, he's been dump. So, yeah, he can go. I'd sell Andre Gomez. And I'd take, again, 10, 15, maybe at a push if you're lucky, 20 million. Jean-Philippe Gbamin, we can't sell him. So, he's got to stay. Tom Davies, now if you'd have asked me this question before January, I would have, again, drove him, just like Fabian Delph, anywhere he wanted to go. Like, wouldn't be bothered. But he's come good, and this he stays next season. No problem. Like, I keep him over Sigurdsson, Delph, Gomez all day of the week. Tom Davies has learnt to pass forward. He's breaking down play. I feel like Alan has made a massive difference to Tom Davies. Like, I really feel like he's had a decent impact on his career. So for me, Tom Davies stays. Moving on to Alan. Obviously, he stays as well. It's a no-brainer. James Rodriguez. From my perspective, he obviously stays. But I don't know if he's going to, you know. I'm sort of sitting there on the fence. I can't tell you if he is happy in England or not. I'm sort of getting the impression he is, and I'm sort of getting the impression he's not actually that bothered playing for Everton or not, which is disappointing. But you can't blame me for thinking that. You know, he's been fatigued towards the end of the season. Some games he's been a passenger. Other games, look, there's no doubt he's been the best player on the pitch. I just worry whether his heart is here. And I think going forward, Everton really need players who want to play for Everton Football Club, who want to do well. Not necessarily Golden Boot winners from World Cups who played for huge clubs on big salaries. I don't know whether that's the right way to go. So for me, I want him to stay, obviously, but it really wouldn't surprise me if he wasn't here next summer. I say next summer, we're in this summer. Decore, he stays, obvious. Tyler Onyango, just like some of the younger lads, it's up to him. If Everton can get him a loan, great. If not, stick him in and around the first team. Let him play a few under-23 games. If you feel that he's good enough to go in the Carabao Cup games, fine, give him a game. I trust Everton's judgment. Bit mad, bearing in mind our under-23s finished 5th and our under-18s finished 6th, but I trust their judgment. Mohamed Besic, he will leave Everton Football Club. A sort of a hero, really, because I think he's the longest-serving player at Everton Football Club, which is mad, bearing in mind I don't think we've seen him now for 2.5 years, really, properly. Yeah, he goes, and I wish him all the best. Every time he's played for Everton, he's always shown the dedication, the commitment. I've never heard anything bad about him. He's always been professional. He's just not a great footballer. So, for me, yeah, Mohamed Besic, his 7 years come to an end. Nathan Broadhead, he's just been offered, I believe, a new contract. Or he might have just signed a new contract. look, if he's going to, again, it wouldn't surprise me if he is a little bit like Anthony Gordon, which is going to be an interesting one we're going to come on to in a minute. For me, he stays, gets some games in the first team, but it wouldn't surprise me if he goes out on loan. And again, I'm not fussed about that. Isaac Price, I don't know anything about him, so I'm not even going to comment. Richarlison, he's really difficult as well. He's difficult because the way he's sulked has really pissed me off. But I don't think any club's going to offer the sort of money that Everton are going to want for him. I think he's lacked a lot this season. Whether that's because he's been frustrated at the way we've played, the way we haven't played, whatever. It's not been good for Richarlison this season. So for me, he stays. But if somebody offered me 50 million for Richie and we needed the money to go and invest, I would probably take it. And I know that sounds awful because I love Richarlison. But this isn't the first time I've seen a sulky Richarlison. I've seen a sulky Richarlison every single season he's been out. Just usually he snaps out of it. I've got to be honest, I don't feel like I've seen him come out of it this season. He's literally been like it since about the fourth game of the season when Calvert-Lewin was just outscoring him. So that concerns me. So, look, you offer me 50 million with my hand tied behind my back. Yeah, I probably do sell him. But ideally, I do want to keep him. Is that a fair answer? Dominic Calvert-Lewin, he stays, obvious reasons. Do I think he's a complete striker? No. Do I think he needs to work? Yes. Do I think that he scored 16 goals in 32 starts with a team that massively, at times, lacked creativity? Absolutely. So, get him on penalties next season and see if he can hit 20 goals. Why not? Alex Iwobi, again, very similar comment to Delph. He wants to leave. I'll pick him up. I'll drive him. No problem. Bernard, equally the same. He wants to go. I'll pick him up. I'll drive him. No problem. And Joshua King, last to finish. Second last to finish. He's not going to be an Everton player next summer. So at the end of this window, so it doesn't fucking matter. Last one, Anthony Gordon. Anthony Gordon obviously went on loan to Preston, and I've got to be honest, he's not had a great time. We are going to talk about Ellis Sims as well. He's not had a great time. Now, attitude-wise, I think, he's sound. He'll play for Everton Football Club. But I actually think he might not be a Premier League player. And that's going to sound terrible. He's got all the time in the world to improve. And I'm not on about getting rid of him now. I'm not saying that. I'm saying he stays this season. Because we're getting rid of so many wingers. We get rid of Bernard, Iwobi, Sigurdsson, if he goes, then great. I know he doesn't play on the wing, but you need ball carrying players, and there is no doubt Anthony Gordon is that. I do just have concerns whether he's just the level might just be too high for him. I hope him the best, and I'm not writing him off. I wish him the best of luck. I just have observations, and I had them really early on. And I did mention it in the season. I just don't know whether he's going to make the top grade Premier League player. But look, I don't see him in training. Marcel Brands watches him. Carlo watches him. The under-23s coaches know him, etc. They know much better than I do. Just looking from the sort of fan perspective, I don't know. And the other one is Ellis Sims, who has had a fantastic loan at Blackpool. And for me, I can't remember if Blackpool are in the playoff final. I seem to think that they are. If they get promoted and they get to Championship next season and he wants to stay there for another loan, I'd be fine with that. If not, I'll bring him into the first team. I'll let him have a few games. This is a kid who's big, strong, knows where the goal is clearly. I've got no issues with playing kids. I really don't. if he's going to get opportunities to play, then bring him in. If not, yes, keep him at loan. Think it's the Championship he'd be promoted to. I'm fine with that. Gives him the opportunity. Now we're going to talk about players that we'd like to sign. This is the bit that you guys really sort of get into. So obviously we've spoken about a lot of central midfielders going and 2 wingers going. So first and foremost, we need a ball-carrying midfielder. Now, I give it away by releasing the thumbnail to this video early. But why not look at a player like Nikola Vlasic? This is a player who 3 years ago or 4 years ago was bought very young for £10 million, had a few opportunities, looked a decent player, was allowed to leave, which, look, the less said the better. But he genuinely is a good player. You know, this is a kid who's being linked with Milan, who I think have just finished second in Syria. This is a player who can score goals, is the best player in Russia. I'm not saying this kid is world class. I'm not saying that. But I'm saying he certainly adds a bit more creativity, a bit more depth, with better quality than what we've got. Plus, he's young. He's got a point to prove. Maybe he felt like it didn't work out at Everton in the first place. Why not go for him? You know, 15 million maybe buys him back. I'm just saying, I'm not against Vlasic coming back into Everton Football Club. I'm really not. From everything I've seen of him, he looks a very, very good, useful, creative player. And I'm all for all of that in my Premier League team. And look, he might not start every game. He might be an option off the bench. But for £15 million, I really don't think we can go wrong with that, with the sort of players that we need. You know, you've got that sort of core of 3 midfielders in there with Davies, Doucouré, Allen. You might want to change the shape a little bit, you know. But we're going to need to bring in different players because, no disrespect, there's no way Richarlison, James and Calvert-Lewin could start every game because we've already seen they're not creative enough. So we need to bring in different players. That means Richarlison's not going to play as many games. It means Rodriguez, although he's only played 20-odd games this season, you know, there'll be games where he isn't available, we've already seen. So there's room for players who are creative, who can pick and pass, who can score goals from range. He does tick all of those boxes. Another player is Leon Bailey. For me, left-sided player, or what, he can play both sides. Across the front, he's creative, can beat people. I'm all for players like that. Another player that Everton have been heavily linked with, again, is Wilfried Zaha. And there's loads of Everton fans on Twitter telling me, I don't want him. I don't want Wilfried Zaha. Fine. Is Wilfried Zaha better than Iwobi? Is Wilfried Zaha better than Bernard? Has Wilfried Zaha got a point to prove? I would say the answer to all of those things is yes. Does he score goals? I think he scored 13 this season in the Premier League, maybe 11. He's got assists, he got 4. Richarlison has 7 assists in 3 years and scored 7 Premier League goals. And we're saying we don't want Wilf Zaha. I'm not saying he's a world-class football player. What I'm saying is, though, he has got the right attitude. He has got the drive to do well. And the reason we know all of those things, and I'm not just spouting out of my own arsehole, is because he kept Palace up for 2 years running single-handedly. This season he hasn't needed to. Roy Hodgson managed to do that. But Wilfried Zaha single-handedly kept Palace up for 2 years. So it shows when the going gets tough, he's prepared to grow, he's prepared to step in, he's prepared to get that ball to feet, beat a man and score from 20 yards, do whatever he needs to do to get a result for your team. I don't think Everton have got enough of that. So for me, if you're going to offer me Wilfried Zaha, who is Premier League proven, can score goals, has that right attitude, never seems to sort of majorly chuck his toys out the pram. I mean, he's been kept at Palace for 3 years against his will. Yeah, I'm sound with signing Wilfried Zaha, especially for 40 million. If they were talking about 70 or 80 million, yeah, I'm not feeling that. But based on the fact we spent £35 million on Iwobi, I'm sorry, Wilfried Zaha is so far an upgrade that it's like me going from a Vauxhall Corsa 2002 plate to at least an Insignia 2018 plate. And it's at least going to that level. So, for me, it's a no-brainer. But there's so many people who think it's a bad move. I don't understand that. Is he better than what we have? Yes. Is he a player that could break into a top 6 side? I think he probably could. You know, do I think he'd get in Man City? No. Do I think he could get in Manchester United? Probably not. Do I think he could walk into a Spurs side? Absolutely. Do I think he could get into Leicester? Yes. He gets into where we want to go. So for me, Wilfried Zaha is a no-brainer. Now trust me, if it's more than 40 million... yeah, I'll probably address the situation a little bit different. But the fact he has that Premier League experience and he does appear to have that right attitude and he does score goals at this level, yeah, I think it's a no-brainer. Another player that we've been heavily linked with, and again, I've mentioned it lots and lots of times, is Max Aarons. A lot of people are going on about Baku, a good right back, right wing back. He's fantastic. He really is. My only reservation with players like this, and I mentioned this before, is they don't have Premier League experience. And I really do think we need players with Premier League experience. Max Aarons has that. Max Aarons has that. He's got the pace. He's got the creativity. He can defend. You know, even Gareth Southgate mentioned in a press conference in March that the under-21s or under-23 squad have got some really good right-backs. Max Aarons was that right-back he was on about. So he's already looking at him for a potential right-back move for England. He already knows him. For me, I think it's a no-brainer. Max Aarons walks in for me. And if we're making money in certain positions, John Joe Kenny is another one I forgot to mention in the Sal video. He goes. So you've got Max Aarons as your first choice right-back. You've got Seamus Coleman as your second choice. You've got Yerry Mina and Ben Godfrey in the centre. We need another centre-back. Now, I don't know who to suggest as a centre-back, but what I want is young and powerful, just like Ben Godfrey. If you can find me one of them, sound. I don't think we need to be going and rushing out and spending £50 million on Koulibaly. No doubt world class. No doubt world class. Probably does have the right attitude because he'll want to prove it in the Premier League. But I don't know if that's what we need. I'd really love to just go and get another Ben Godfrey. I really, really would. Ben White has just been called up into the England side. Go and get Ben White. Go and ask Brighton. Go and say, Brighton, I'll give you 30 million for Ben White. Ben White, something like that. I don't know. He's not a bad centre-back. Why not? Konza at Villa. Oh, honestly, fantastic centre-back. Should have got in the England team, in my opinion. Certainly over Conor Cody. Fantastic centre-back. Go and get him. Approach Villa. I know Villa don't necessarily think they have to sell to us. Fine, fair enough. Break their hand. Show them how much money we got. You know, just lash it. Just fucking lash it. Walk up to them. I tell you what, go take the piss so much. Go and say, right, we'll give you 85 million for Grealish and we'll give you another 30 million for Konza. Go on, just splash it everywhere. That's what I'm talking about. So, for me, centre-back is a must. Centre midfielder, as I've already mentioned, we need a ball-carrying one. More than anything, we need a ball-carrying centre midfielder. One who genuinely has got that drive, that turn of pace, that ability to carry a ball. And I also think we need a striker. I think we seriously need a striker because when Calvert-Lewin does have these dry patches, which he has had over the last few seasons, last 9 games last season, I think he scored twice. Before that, he played this season, he only scored 1 or 2 goals towards sort of the end of March, or 3 goals. We need more than that if we're going to carry on the momentum towards the end of the season. Got to remember, Everton only picked up, I think it was 13 points out of our last 11 games. We need more than that. So, we need to keep that momentum going. We need to keep it up. So, for me, we bring in another striker. Again, young and hungry. The one that I want is Tony. Either Tony from Brentford. He's the one I want. I'm laying it out there. So, how much do I think these players will cost? Tony, 30 million. Leon Bailey, 30 million. Nikola Vlasic, 20 million. There's 80. Max Aarons, 30 million. There's 110 million. and another centre-back like Ben Godfrey, probably 35 million. £145 million. That's what I'm asking Everton to invest. Do I think it will happen? Absolutely not. That's monopoly money. That's like dream money. But if we are going to give Carlo a war chest, and we have got some players to sell, and we have got wages coming off the book, you never know. Guys, I'm leaving it there. I hope you've enjoyed the video. I hope you subscribe, you like, and you share. You do everything because I fucking love you for that. And, yeah, got another video tomorrow. I don't know what... Honestly, you lot can't handle this fucking pace. See you soon.